Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Part 1 of the Year 6 Supervisor Orientation for the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps. My name is Ella Fowler, and I'm one of the Associate Directors here at the New York City Coalition Against Hunger. Thank you so much for joining us today for Part 1 of our series. Before we get into our training, the New York City Coalition Against Hunger just wants to thank you so much for your partnership in the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps, and of course your time in taking the Supervisor Orientation series. We cannot be more thankful for your partnership and for the partnerships we have had over the last 5 years of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program. So thank you. Today in Part 1 of our Supervisor Orientation series, we're going to be talking about the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps VISTA program and discussing and providing an overview of the project, talking a little bit about structures and the goals of the project, and then of course talking about the communications and support. Really the purpose of today's training is just to really give you that overview of the structure of the program. The New York City Coalition Against Hunger does not expect their sub-site supervisors to be experts on the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program, but we do expect that to the best of your ability you will try and attempt to understand the major components of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program as well as the AmeriCorps VISTA program. Before I really get into my presentation today, I do want to take a moment and just cover some important terms that you're going to hear throughout the presentation and throughout our partnership. You will see those terms up on your screen, so please just take a moment to review them. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our first subtopic today, which is just the AHOC VISTA structure and goals. So who is the New York City Coalition Against Hunger? As you may or may not know, the New York City Coalition Against Hunger is the intermediary project sponsor for the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means here in just a second, but we do want to just give you a brief overview of who we are and what we do, considering that we will be partnering with each other over the next year. The mission of the New York City Coalition Against Hunger is to represent and be the voice for more than 1,100 nonprofit soup kitchens and food pantries in New York City, and the 1.4 million low-income New Yorkers who live in households that can't afford enough food. The Coalition works not only to meet these residents' immediate food needs, but to enact innovative solutions to help move society beyond the soup kitchen, to ensure economic and food self-sufficiency for all Americans. NYCCAH was founded in 1983, so we've been around for quite a while, and our initiatives revolve around advocating and researching anti-hunger policies, increasing access to food benefits. We run the USDA FNS National Hunger Hotline, and we assist soup kitchens and food pantries through our Strategic Volunteerism Initiative, and then of course we run this National VISTA program. I'm not really going to go too much depth today about NYCCAH and all of these initiatives and what we do, but we really do encourage you to find out more about our organization, as we are partners after all. You can visit us at www.nyccah.org to learn more about our programs. We do want to stress that the staff here at the New York City Coalition Against Hunger that are outside of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program are available to assist our partner agencies and our VISTA members in expanding their programs, talking about their programs, and just providing you general support and guidance. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us or any of our staff here at NYCCAH should you want that guidance and or assistance. You can find our staff emails at the website, or of course you can email your assigned associate director. So as you know, the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program is an AmeriCorps VISTA project. So we do want to touch a little bit about the mission of AmeriCorps VISTA and what VISTAs do. So the AmeriCorps VISTA actually was introduced by President Kennedy in 1963 when he introduced the idea of the Peace Corps. And many of the best-known anti-poverty programs, including Head Start and credit unions, were expanded by AmeriCorps VISTA members. VISTA has been around and on the forefront of ending poverty in America for almost 50 years. It is one of the longest-standing AmeriCorps programs run by the Corporation for National and Community Service. Now, AmeriCorps VISTA members make a year-long 365-day full-time commitment to serve on a specific project at a nonprofit organization or public agency such as yourselves. VISTAs focus their efforts to build the organizational, administrative, and financial capacity of organizations that fight illiteracy, improve health services, foster economic development, and otherwise assist low-income communities. The core principles of VISTA are ending poverty, empowering communities, building capacity, and creating sustainable solutions. Now, the AmeriCorps, this is just the overview of AmeriCorps VISTA program. It's important to note that the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps is an AmeriCorps VISTA program, which is run by the Corporation for National and Community Service. So who is the Corporation for National and Community Service? The Corporation for National and Community Service is a small independent federal agency that administers the AmeriCorps VISTA program. The mission of CNCS is to improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement through service and volunteering. So the AmeriCorps VISTA program is just one of the many programs run by CNCS. As you can see on your screen, this is a breakdown of the Corporation for National and Community Service. And in addition to AmeriCorps, they also run the Senior Corps program and the Social Innovation Fund. Both of those programs have many subsets as well, just like the AmeriCorps program does. Now, as you can see within the AmeriCorps program, they run the NCCC program, which is the National Civilian Conservation Corps. They run the AmeriCorps VISTA program, and then of course they run AmeriCorps state and national programs. Within each within the CNCS structure, each state has its own CNCS state office that supports projects within that specific state in reaching success. So the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, we're based here in New York State. So our CNCS state office for the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project is the New York State CNCS office. If you would like to know more information on the other programs CNCS manages beyond VISTA, we encourage you to visit www.nationalservice.gov. Now, it's important to note that the Corporation for National and Community Service is the entity that oversees and monitors the AmeriCorps VISTA program. So they are, in essence, our major funder for the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project. But the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project is unique. We are actually funded in a joint governmental partnership between the Corporation for National and Community Service and the United States Department, USDA FNS. This joint partnership arose in 2010 when we looked to establish the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program, and we're very, very thankful for our two major funders. The reason that this is important to know about our funding is that we are funded on a yearly basis. For some of you, you may have worked with other AmeriCorps state and national programs or an AmeriCorps VISTA program and might be under the assumption that the AmeriCorps VISTA grant is around for 3 years. That is how most CNCS projects run. However, because of our unique governmental partnership and our unique funding, we are funded on a yearly level. So we will not find out about year 7 funding until September of 2016. The reason we want you to know about this is, one, we think it's important that you know who our major funders are, as we do ask you to acknowledge them on your materials and when you're VISTA members in the community. But also, two, it's important to note this, the AmeriCorps VISTA resource is not a long-term resource that's going to be available to your organizations. And because we don't know about funding and we only get funding on a yearly basis, it's important for our sites to recognize that so that they really incorporate that sustainability component of the VISTA program into their VISTA members' projects every year. Now, you may be wondering if we have the Corporation for National and Community Service involved, we have the USDA FNS, and then we have the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, and then we have my site. How do all of these entities relate to each other? I want to share with you a relationship analogy. And the purpose of sharing this with you, we share the same analogy with our VISTA members. And so this is just to help put into perspective how all of these entities kind of relate to each other and how we assist each other as we're going to go through this year of service. So The way that that we frame this with our AmeriCorps VISTA members is we want you to think of the New York City Coalition Against Hunger and the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps as kind of like a university. And you're a professor, and your organization is considered a classroom. And you've applied to the NYCCAH University to receive an AHOC intern, or to receive like a class member for the work that you're doing in your communities. And you work with NYCCAH University and our staff, such as myself and other staff members in the AHOC program, to ensure that the VISTA member is able to graduate from NYCCAH University. So essentially you're providing that day-to-day supervision of the VISTA on site. You're being their professor. You're giving them that guidance to be successful in your work, while also at the same time working within the NYCCAH University structure to make sure that that VISTA can graduate from our program, submitting all the administrative paperwork, making sure that they are following the policies of NYCCAH University, and so on and so forth. So just a little analogy for you to hopefully help frame how all of these pieces fit together. Now I want to take a moment and zoom in a little bit on the slide that we had before of the CNCS structure to look at the intermediary project sponsor piece of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps. So as I mentioned, the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, we are the intermediary project sponsor. And so what does that mean? That means that we applied to CNCS to receive this AmeriCorps VISTA program. And we handle all that back-end administrative work, including grants, reporting, a lot of the member management, the administrative paperwork, so that you don't have to. We want your VISTA member and you to focus on the needs of your communities while we handle all of that. But we can't do it alone. Obviously, there are things that we're going to be asking you to do as a sub-site supervisor to work with us in our partnership, just to ensure that we have all the pieces in place to continue the future of this program, as well as supporting the VISTA members and you as a sub-site in reaching the goals that you have for your communities. Now the New York City Coalition Against Hunger does work very closely with the New York State CNCS office in administering and managing the AHOC program. So we are responsible for all aspects of the AHOC program, and like I said, you as sub-sites are very crucial to that process. So if we have this AmeriCorps VISTA project, how did it start? Where did it come from? And what is really the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps? To provide you a little bit of an overview, the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps came to fruition in about 2010. We exist because NYCCAH felt that there was a need to have a nationwide volunteer program focused specifically on educating individuals and decreasing barriers to USDA FNS programs. This is already built into our mission of moving society beyond the soup kitchen, so we felt that partnering with the Corporation for National and Community Service was really the best way to implement this nationwide project. The AHOC program officially started in 2010, and we are now entering into our 6th year. This year we will have approximately 92 year-long members serving in the project, with approximately 4 VISTA leaders, with over 40 different partner organizations, and in 27 states. So we're very excited about this year's Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project. But what is the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project? What is it that we do? I'm sure all of you read about the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project when you applied to our program in your request for partner application. But just to revisit that statement of need. So all the members within the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project are working towards the statement of need that NYCCAH has outlined with the Corporation for National and Community Service. So every single member of our program is working towards that statement of need that you see at your screen. And we would just like you to take a moment and just read that statement. Now, as you can see, in our statement of need, we have a strong emphasis on SNAP and the SNAP Employment and Training Program. That is because it goes back to that unique funding structure that we were talking about earlier. Because we're funded by USDA, FNS, and CNCS, there are certain initiatives that USDA, FNS would like us to focus on. So that's really what we highlight in a lot of our materials. The SNAP Employment and Training Program and focusing on SNAP is a major part of our funding from USDA, FNS. And so it's really important that the majority of our members are working on either SNAP or other USDA, FNS programs, as well as the SNAP Employment and Training Program. Additionally, this year as we approach into year 6, USDA, FNS, and CNCS are really looking for more of our members and partners to work on farmers markets and SNAP. So if you've outlined that in your scope of work in your RFP, we're really looking forward to seeing the great work that your VISTA members are going to be able to do this year. Now, with the focus on SNAP and SNAP Employment and Training, we also understand that there are other scopes of work within the Statement of Need, which we have outlined in what we call VISTA assignment descriptions. So this Statement of Need has been broken down into 5 AHOC program goals. We monitor whether or not members are working towards the Statement of Need based on these 5 program goals. So you as a sub-site supervisor are going to get to choose one or multiple of the 5 program goals and assign those goals to your AHOC member. And like I said, that will ensure that your member is working towards this Statement of Need. So what are those 5 goals? On your screen, you will currently see 3 of the 5 program goals. Now when you submitted your request for partner application, you did review these goals that we have, and you outlined to NYCCAH what goals your member was going to work towards this year. Now we did grant you a VISTA member based on that request for partner application and that original application, and it is expected that you will continue to have that same scope of work. However, as we talk about these AHOC goals and the supervisor orientation and move forward in our partnership, don't be afraid to ask if you can add additional goals or additional scope of work into your members' work. We just ask that original scope of work remain unless there's some sort of change in the member's ability to do that work. So if you could just take a moment and read these first 3 goals on your screen. This is the exact language around the goals as pulled from the grant that NYCCAH has with the Corporation for National and Community Service. So those are the first 3 goals. Just to kind of talk, we'll really delve into what members can do within these 3 goals in Part 3 of our training. But just to kind of establish some ground now, Goal 1 that you see on here is really related towards USDA FNS programs. So if your VISTA member is going to be working on decreasing barriers to those programs like SNAP, or they're going to be working on SFSP, child adult care feeding programs, summer meals, you will be assigning them Goal 1 of the project. If Goal 2 of the project, as you see on your screen, that mostly relates to volunteers, building recruitment systems, training, and so on and so forth. And then Goal 3 that you see on your screen is specifically related to fund development and establishing funding streams. So what are the remaining 2 goals? Goal 4 of our program, which we call our Markets and Gardens Initiative, is actually broken up into 3 subset goals. This is kind of related to anything that has to do with community gardens, nutrition education, and farmers markets. And then the last goal within our program is directly related to the SNAP Employment and Training Program. For those new partners who haven't been with us before, the SNAP Employment and Training Program is a new initiative of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps project since year 3 of our program. And we do work closely with the United States Department of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition Service in providing support to our partners and to our VISTA members on the SNAP Employment and Training Program. We do encourage as many partners as possible who can incorporate the SNAP Employment and Training Program into the scope of work that they do so. just because it is, like I said, a big initiative of USDA FNS, and the more partners that we are able to have work on it, the better for the future of our program. So as I mentioned before, this goal language, these 5 goals, come directly from NYCCAH's project application with CNCS. So this is how we've taken that statement of need and broke it down into tangible, what we call goals of the project, so that our partners could work on a variety of different programs that suits their community needs. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that what our VISTA members doing for you at your organizations is working for you and your organizations and meeting the needs of what you are looking for. So all members within our project must work on at least one or a combination of the aforementioned goals. All of the work that they do must be reaching in some ways towards those overarching goals of project. If they are not, then the member and the subsite are in violation of our program because they are not working on initiatives that are approved by CNCS. Now it's important to note that each of these goals that we just reviewed has a subset, what we call assigned objectives and performance measures. So we have gone through and we kind of broken down each of these overarching goals into objective of assignments, which you'll find on these documents called VISTA assignment descriptions and supplemental matrices. We'll really talk about these as we get into part 3 of our training, but just to kind of provide an overview, that these goals are assigned through those documents, and those documents really outline how the VISTA member is going to complete their year and how they're going to reach their performance measures and the reporting measurements found on their VAD. So after reading those objective of assignments, you may be asking yourself, or those goals of project, you may be asking yourself, so what do AHOC members do? We understand that because we work with a federal agency, a lot of the language that we use in this program is very bureaucratic and jargon-filled. So just to kind of break down to some tangibles of what members in our program do, you'll see on your screen just kind of a list. This is by all means not all-encompassing, but just kind of a brief overview to you of what some members in our program do. So members can develop awareness materials for FNS programs. They can draft a community assessment to evaluate the needs of the community and partners in addressing food access, employment and training barriers, and from that assessment develop programs, trainings, and systems to help improve access in their communities. They could establish or continue a community's food planning association, recruit and train community volunteers to conduct SNAP applications or pre-screening assistance, establish a new community garden, recruit volunteers to staff the garden, work with farmers markets to accept EBT machines, and create nutrition education programs. So that is just a brief overview of the CNCS structure, or the structure of the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program and who NYCCAH is, as well as just a brief history of our project and what our statement of need is. If you are still confused as to the overarching goal of the AHOC program, please indicate so in the survey that you're going to complete below this training in the Year 6 Supervisor Orientation document. And NYCCAH will follow up with you to address any questions or concerns that you have. But now we're going to move on to the communication and support and talk a little bit about how communication works in our partnership and just what support is available to you and your members as we move forward. So as you know, or may not know, I should say, we do have staff here at the New York City Coalition Against Hunger who are dedicated to solely managing this AmeriCorps VISTA project. There are 3 full-time staff, and we are anticipating hiring a part-time staff sometime in the next few months. So do be advised there will be a new name added to this list. But of course, first is our Executive Director, Joel Berg. He is obviously managing all of us staff and just making sure that the program runs smoothly and by providing kind of administrative support and guidance on the program and where it's going. You as a sub-site may have the opportunity to see Joel throughout the year. He does like to conduct site visits. He definitely likes to engage with the AmeriCorps VISTA members in our project, and he is very involved in our program. Now, Joel is also available as a resource for you and your sub-sites. He is a nationally known speaker, so if you would ever like to have him do any events for you and your organization, kindly let us know. He's more than willing to work that out with our sites. Additionally, like I said, Joel does like to do site visits, so if you are interested in him coming to your site to do an event, he will most likely couple that with a site visit. We also have Amanda Cowgill. She's the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps Program Director. Amanda has been with the AHOC program since the very beginning. She is based in our Washington, D.C. office, and obviously she is overseeing the AHOC staff, myself, and Vicki. And she's also managing our relationships with CNCS, USDA, FNS. She handles all of our grants and reports. And of course, she steps in where necessary when handling situations with our VISTA members and our partners. Amanda does do site visits, so you may get the opportunity to meet her throughout the VISTA year. She is a level of support for you all if you so need her to talk about your projects or to discuss any needs that you have as a partner in the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program. And then we do have two associate directors. That's Vicki Dumboya and then myself, Ella Fowler. We manage the partnerships with you as sub-sites. So Vicki and I split up the United States, and we work with the sites within that specific region to make sure and kind of be a liaison between you, your VISTA member, CNCS/NYCCAH, just to make sure that everybody has a successful year of VISTA service. So for you as sub-sites, your main point of contact and the person that you're going to be hearing most from is either Vicki or myself, depending on who you're assigned to. So most likely at this point you should know who your assigned associate director is, but if you don't, please indicate below and we can reach out to you. But this assigned person will just kind of be that there to support you throughout your VISTA year. Now, we do have what we call AmeriCorps VISTA leaders who serve with our project. For those of you who've been have partnered with us in the past, I'm sure you're familiar with their role. But just to reiterate, they are only here for 1 year. They are returning AmeriCorps VISTA volunteers who wanted to do an additional year to learn a little bit more about program administration and implementation. So they come into a project and they help just provide administrative support and programmatic support. They mentor the VISTA members within the program, and they coordinate, facilitate, and support the efforts of our VISTA members. It's important to note, though, that VISTA leaders are not supervisors. They are mentors. The supervisors of the AHOC program are really Vicki and myself. Now, the way that we look at the communication chain for VISTA members and sub-sites, because we do have a lot of people here on the AHOC team that you can contact, we assign each of our VISTA members a VISTA leader. We try to keep that member assigned to the same VISTA leader throughout their 365-day term. However, logistically this can be difficult depending on when we are able to hire on VISTA leaders and or when VISTA members start in our program. So we'll do our best to give your VISTA member one assigned VISTA leader. Now, we encourage and we tell all of our VISTA members that they should be reaching out to their VISTA leader throughout their year of service. That VISTA leader is expected to check in with that VISTA member at least 4 times during the VISTA year, provide guidance, support, communicate a lot of our policies and procedures, enforce policies and procedures, and just make sure that the VISTA, the AHOC VISTA member, remembers that they're part of a much larger AHOC program. All of the members in our program are working on the same initiatives like we reviewed in that statement of need. So really the VISTA leaders are here to make connections where it otherwise might fail. Letting a VISTA in California know that the VISTA in Texas, what they're doing is very similar, and share resources and to just be a support system for the VISTA member. Now, you as a sub-site, we do ask that you reach out to the associate director, your assigned associate director, if you have questions about the VISTA program. And the reason this is because, as I mentioned, these VISTA leaders are only here with us for 365 days. So your assigned associate director is going to know more about administrative policies. They're going to know more about enforcing those policies. Any long-term questions you have about the future of the AHOC program, or if you're having a bad situation with your VISTA member, we just encourage you to reach directly out to the associate director, as they're going to be able to answer your questions more directly. Now, of course, if you do email the VISTA leader directly, it will get up to the associate director, and we will reach out to you to address those concerns. As I mentioned before, because the New York City Coalition Against Hunger is based in New York State, we work very closely with the New York State CNCS office. They are a level of support for all of our sub-sites. So the CNCS state office here in New York, they provide us with guidance and supervision around recruitment, retention, just general guidance when personnel issues arise with our VISTA members. And they're really the ones making final decisions and determinations regarding the AHOC program. And they are available to connect our sub-sites to the resources that they need and to offer technical assistance to our program. And of course, they monitor compliance for the project. Now, the majority of the communication with the New York State office is going to come from the New York City Coalition Against Hunger for this project. We do ask that you as a sub-site don't reach out to the New York State office unless you feel that NYCCAH is in violation of a CNCS policy. This is because we have over 40 organizations partnering in this project alone, and to have one liaison to CNCS just kind of eases the communication and just making sure that everybody is on the same page. If you do want to talk to New York State office or if you need guidance on VISTA policies or such, reach out to the AHOC Associate Director, as we are considered experts. Although we don't require you to be an expert on everything VISTA and everything AHOC, we can be considered those experts. So we are here as that support resource for you. So this does conclude our part one of our training today. I just want to review some major takeaways that you should walk away from this training. The first being NYCCAH is the intermediary project sponsor. And in conjunction with the Corporation for National and Community Service, we administer the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program. We're here handling all of that back-end administration work so that you don't have to. AHOC VISTAs must work on one or a combination of AHOC 5 program goals, which relate back to our overall statement of need. Once goals are assigned to the VISTA member, it is a contract between the site and NYCCAH. So once we do those VADs and supplemental matrices, that is the expectation we are having of you as a sub-site and of your VISTA member. Of course, we'll talk a little bit more in future trainings about adjusting the VISTA assignment description if you need to, or handling conflicts or situations that arise within our work, because we know that things change. That it's important to note that AHOC is jointly funded by CNCS, USDA FNS, and the Walmart Foundation. The Walmart Foundation, I did not mention this on the funding slide, provides us a small amount of funding for our conferences that we have every year. We do try to host in-person conferences for our VISTA members, and our supervisors are encouraged to attend if they can. And then also just that university analogy, that you are a sub-site, as a sub-site, are like a classroom, and that you as a supervisor is kind of like a professor guiding the member through their year of service. Then you have the VISTA leaders who are kind of like guidance counselors. You have the associate directors who are like administrative deans. So we are all here to provide support to you and to your members to ensure a successful year. And then also the last piece to take away from this is that NYCCAH has managed the AHOC program for 5 years, and we are entering into our 6th year of the project. So that's just an important to note, as we do not know how long we will be able to continue to provide the Anti-Hunger and Opportunity Corps program. So that does conclude our part one of our supervisor orientation today. If you have any questions about this orientation, please go ahead and note those questions in the survey that's below the recorded training of this supervisor orientation. You will not receive credit for listening to this orientation until you complete the accompanying survey. So please do not forget to sign off and state that you did listen to the supervisor orientation. If you have any questions, concerns, or issues in completing the survey, you can reach out to me at efowler, Fowler, at NYCCAH.org. Thank you all so much again for joining us today, and we look forward to partnering with you over the next year. One down. Did I talk too fast?